We are recording. Good morning. This is our Mindset Monday. So it's a little bit different. This is where we really focus in on mindset. And this month's topic is you can do hard things. So I was visiting with someone about this yesterday and I was like, what does it mean? And it's somebody not in network marketing. It's somebody that's not, in the field, nothing like that. And I was like, what do you think whenever I say you can do hard things? And it was also a guy. And he said, and it wasn't my husband, but he was like, well, whenever you say that to me, I think of, getting in sink or swim situations. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, whenever I think of like, you can do hard things, whenever I'm in a sink or swim situation, that's how I feel. Like that's the reminder that I have to tell myself. So that way I swim. And so I started thinking and I was like, how many times do we put ourselves in those situations? He went on to say, he's like, I look for situations like that. Like I want to be put in those situations so I can prove to myself and to others that I'm going to swim every single time. Now, with that being said, he is a supervisor over a massive organization, and he is trying to climb a corporate ladder. And so I can kind of see how he feels that way. He's like, I want to be put in those sink or swim situations just to show I can swim every single time. But it kind of gave me a different outlook on it. So with that being said, I'm going to make way too many swimming references today. So just get your hearts ready for that. I feel like you need a warning. I'm about to make you feel like, who is the guy that's like a master swimmer in the Olympics, Phelps? Like, you're going to feel like him by the end of this. So I started thinking and I was like, how can we be put in more of those sink or swim situations? Because I don't want you just to search for them. I want you to know that you're going to come out swimming every single time. I want you to know there's not a doubt in your mind that you got it, that every time you get put in that situation, you're going to swim. So, and I mean, it's just to prove to yourself over and over that you'll swim every single time. And it gets you to new heights and it gets you to new depths, new levels, new waters. Just no matter how you look at it, like we're not meant to stay. There's nothing exciting about being where you are right now 1 year from now. Nothing. We're not meant to stay in those same waters. We're meant to go to new depths. We're meant to go to new heights. But sometimes it can be scary. Sometimes, stepping over the ledge, sometimes getting in over your head. Like I said, just get your hearts ready. We're going into all the references. So I started looking at, well, what do we need to be able to be put in those situations? And part one that I thought of immediately was confidence. You have got to be confident to be able to step into those waters, whatever that looks like for you. What does it look like to step into scary waters? What does it look like to step into something that's over your head? For me, something I struggle with is, my relationship with food. Y'all know this if you've been with me for a while. That is something that I personally struggle with. So those, can be scary at times, trying to figure out that balance. Sometimes for people, it's exercising. Sometimes it's business. Sometimes it's, quitting a bad habit. What does it look like for you to step into that? Because whenever you feel like, well, I'm just not confident enough, I don't feel really confident in that area. What we can do to help with that is remembering the areas where you do feel confident. So you don't feel confident in that arena, but what are the areas that you do feel confident in? For me, it's being a mom, being a wife. For me, it's business. I'm like, I'm a beast at business. I am a beast at being a mom, being a wife. So whenever it comes to the area where I'm not as confident in, and I'm like, remember who you are. Remember what you bring to the table. Like you are still that same person here too. You still can bring that same confidence over here too. So just kind of remembering. And also, guys, confidence is a skill. I know we've talked about this so many times, but confidence is a skill. The more you practice it, the better you're going to be. Just like a sport, just like anything in life that's a skill, you can practice it and get better and better and better. So the first time you try it, yeah, it's not going to be the best, but I promise you it gets better. Okay, so that's part one, is confidence. Oh my gosh, hi Lisa Fuller. Good morning, 4 a.m. crew. Okay, so confidence is part one, to getting into those sink or swim and make sure that you're going to swim. Part two is work ethic. And whenever I started thinking about work ethic, I was like, I know that has to be part of it, because, whenever we get into those situations where it's a sink or swim, and we're in over our head, our work ethic is what keeps us from retreating back to where we can touch. Our work ethic is what keeps us swimming and treading water. Our work ethic is what keeps us moving forward instead of going backwards. So why is some people's work ethic different than others? And for some of you, you know you need to pick it up a notch. For some of you, it's there. It's already there. So why? And so I started asking myself that question and kind of digging, and I thought, for some people, I bet it's, Lisa said discipline for sure. Completely agree. Discipline. And for some people, I think it's a pride thing too. I almost think it's like, you don't want to let yourself down, but you also don't want others to see you retreat back. You don't want others to see you not show up. So sometimes it can be a pride thing, but we have to have that work ethic. It has to be there. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to get into deeper waters, which we have to, we cannot stay in the same waters. Like we just can't. If you're trying to, take that step, you got to look at your work ethic. We got to start asking ourselves, and this is kind of going to go into the next thing too. What does somebody already at the level that you're wanting to get at, what do they do every single day? Right? Like, what are they doing every single day? How can I start bringing the work ethic that they bring to the table? If I want what they have, I have to do what they do. So what does that look like? If I want to, there's people that inspire me so much that are healthier, that, are exercising, that are doing 5Ks. And it's like, okay, well, what do? They eat healthier. They exercise daily. There's people in this business, and I want their paychecks. I am so motivated by money. It's no surprise. So I very openly message people. I'm like, send me a picture of your paycheck. And there's people that, I have been following for this entire year, and I have just seen their progression. And I'm like, and I'm so inspired by that, but I have to show up like how they're showing up. I have to do what they're doing. So really looking at that work ethic. That was part 2. Part 3 is courage and being brave. So we know whenever I say, have that courage, be brave, that does not mean not having any fear. That means doing it and not letting fear stop you. That means doing it scared. So sometimes in business, in life, whatever, we get kind of comfortable. We get into waters that we can actually touch in. Like we can touch here, we're good. But there's this drop off. And we know the drop off is there, but it's so scary to take that step. It's so scary because we know it's over our head right there. It's so scary because it's like, well, what if a current comes through? Like, what if, I know this is how I felt whenever I was about to quit teaching and take my business full time. I was like, well, what if I quit teaching and the whole thing falls apart? What if I quit teaching and like the money stops? Like for some reason, just checks stop coming in. Like, I mean, it was so scary to take that leap, but I knew with where I wanted to go with this, that it was time for me to take it full time. Like you just know, right? So how do we have that courage to take the step? How do we, get into that water that's just a little bit over our head to get to that next level? And it just comes down to doing it scared. And that's what, whenever people think about joining this business, that's the talk that I have with them is, and, I was talking to someone just the other day, she's going to be joining here soon. And she was saying how like she's scared. And I'm like, girl, we all are, because we are taking a leap. Like we're getting into unknown waters. We're getting in sometimes over our head, it feels like. But what's really cool with this business is you can do it scared because you're not doing it alone. Like there's so many people, we talk about, being in the arena. There's so many people in that arena already. Just get in there with them. Get in there and lock arms with them. It comes down to, who are you surrounding yourself with? Are you surrounding yourself with people that are already at that level of where you want to be? You've got to make sure you're doing that. And for somebody that's just stepping in, it's so important that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're just stepping in or if you've been in it for 8 years. It still is going to come down to, who are you surrounding yourself with? Because that's what's, That's who's going to push you to keep doing it scared and keep going to the next level. So anyways, courage was the next thing. And then another one that I have wrote down is authentic. Guys, I remember whenever somebody first said you have to be authentic, I was like, what does that even mean? Like, how can, like, I don't even know what that means. And like, it kind of threw me. It just did. I can't explain why, but it did. And then I was having a talk with someone yesterday, and they said, well, if you try to be someone else and fail, you begin to question yourself. And it just kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, that's so true. You know, sometimes in this business, we compare ourselves to others and we start trying to be more like them. But the thing is, when you try to be more like someone else, you're going to fall short every single time. But then when you fall short of being someone else, you start questioning yourself. And so it's like this vicious cycle of you're not even being yourself, you're trying to be someone else. So of course you're going to fall short. And then we start wondering, well, are we even made out to do this? When you haven't even shown up as yourself yet. You've shown up as everybody else. So what does it look like when you start showing up as yourself? I mean, that comes down to just accepting the fact that you were made this way on purpose, right? You were made exactly how you were made on purpose, with a purpose. And we have to start letting that shine through. And sometimes it's weird. Sometimes it's difficult because sometimes you look around and you're like, there's nobody like me in this business. But that's what makes it so special. And it's not just business, it's life in general. But, you know, it really struck me because I think so many times we do try to, I don't know, we see other people succeeding. And there's part of us that's like, well, if I could just be more like her, if I could just look more like her. And like I said, anytime we do that, we're going to fall short every single time because that's not who you are. We can use them for inspiration. We can use them to be like, you know, how do they work? I want to start working like them and showing up like them as far as work ethic goes. But whenever you step into being authentic, it comes so much more natural. People start to trust you so much more faster. And, you know, sometimes we think, well, there's nobody in this business like me. So what if I start being myself and it doesn't work? It's not true. You're meant to be exactly who you are. You were made this way on purpose. And like I said, if you try to be someone else, it's just not going to work. You're going to fall short, and then you're going to begin to question yourself, and that's whenever it gets weird, because then you're like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe I was just meant for this until this level, and now like this is as high as I can go, and you just get in this weird trap. I think we've all been in those situations before where we've been trying to be like someone else, and then we start to fall short, and then we start having those doubts and stuff creep into our head. Completely agree. I'm looking at chat right now. Yeah, Lisa said people are drawn to authenticity 100%. And I mean, you're not meant to be like everybody else out there. Yeah, Gina said, I've had to dig deep recently to start growing and learn positivity from a different view. I love that. I love that. So here's the deal with this week. Like, whenever we start looking at this and we start thinking, okay, where am I at right now? You know, for some of you, you have taken that step for like in July, I have seen some people take that step into the deeper waters. I've seen people, you know, they're treading right now. They're not sinking, they're refusing to sink, and they're swimming. This month, I've also seen people at the beginning of the month take a leap off into deeper waters. And it got kind of scary and it got kind of hard, and they retreated back to where they could touch. You know, where are you at right now? Are you still staying like in those waters where you can touch? Are you still doing the things that don't really stretch you, but where you can say, well, you know, I show up. I check off my list. I do my things. Or are you stretching yourself and getting uncomfortable? I will tell y'all time and time again, when you get uncomfortable, that's when you're going to see growth. So are you pushing yourself to get uncomfortable? Lisa, I know it has been, this summer has been insane. This month has been insane. And as we step into the second half of the month, like, how are you going to show up? I see so many people that are getting to those new levels every single month. And if you look around, you can see it too. And the only difference sometimes is just stepping out and having that courage. Yeah, Gina said, or treading, I refuse to sink. Yep. And sometimes I think, like I was saying, it's not even just refusing to sink, but also refusing to go back to where you can touch. Sometimes it's about not only going to that next level, but keeping on leveling up. Oh gosh, someone said, I'm in the kiddie pool. That is hilarious. I told y'all there was going to be way too many swimming references this morning. Yeah, Lisa, same. And that's the thing. She said so many show up in the beginning and at the end. And that's the thing, like, we're about to go into mid-month. So, I mean, we're pretty much there. What is today? The 13th. So we're pretty much there. And we have 96 on an early morning Zoom. So you're here for it. But what is that going to look like in your business today? We're kicking off a new week. What is that going to look like? You know, how are you going to set up for it? I know. Can you imagine if you treated every day like it was your last day? Like if this morning you woke up and it was, you know, you treated it like it was month end and you were, I don't know what it looks like. You know, everybody's at a different level in this business, but if it was month end and you were $10,000 away from your goal, how would you attack it? Or 3,000 or 2,000, you know, whatever level that you're at. It's just this mindset shift. I mean, it truly is. And whenever that mindset shift happens, nothing can get in your way. Nothing. Teresa said, in deep water, not 100% swimming, kind of using a floaty. That's like, for me, I have to keep my arms locked with the right people. I just do. I got to keep my arms locked with the people that are swimming with me. I got to keep my arms locked with the people that are kind of a little bit in front of me with where I want to be. Oh my gosh. And I know exactly who they are without a doubt. And I mean, I'm just watching them and I'm just watching and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm being authentic, but I'm so inspired by them. And so just keeping all that in mind. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Lisa said it shows what you're capable of, you know, at month beginning and month end, but why can't we work it that way every single day of the month? Gina, yeah, whenever the mindset does that, whenever it shifts like that, and you feel just that kick in of, I can do things, like I can do hard things. And that's why I wanted that to be the topic this month of you can do hard things. Sometimes it's remembering hard things you've done from the past and remembering how strong you are and remembering how capable you are, remembering that you are a freaking beast, remembering the times that you have swam before, and then bringing that over into this, whatever that looks like. Like I said, it doesn't have to be business every time. Sometimes it needs to be health. It just depends on what season that you're in. Sometimes it needs to be being a mom. You know, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm the worst mom in the world. And I've got to, you know, bring confidence from other areas into this one. Because I can promise you, you have gotten through battles before. You've gotten through wars before, it feels like. You're so strong. And bringing that into this, you're unstoppable. Yeah, Lisa said, nothing drives me more crazy than a message from someone the last 2 days suddenly trying to promote. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know what's going on. Where's like, why is, yeah. Completely agree. Yeah, Blake was in here last night. I was kind of going through my notes and because I knew it was going to be a shorter Zoom because we have the work with me Zoom right after this. So I was going through my notes and I was talking to Chad and I was like, what do you think? Like, I don't like, how does that sound? And Blake was like, Mama, that sounds good. Like, I'm ready to go swimming right now. I'm like, okay, that's not, missing the point here. Yeah, completely agree. We're so quick to tell our kids, you know, push through fear and all this other stuff. And then whenever it comes to us, it's like, oh, I can't go live. You know, I can't go live. I can't. Like I said so many times, I don't think it's a fear of anything other than being judged. I really do. I really, really do. So here's my challenge to you this week. I want you to find this week find ways you can swim. Like find ways that are going to push you to get in deeper waters. Find ways that are going to push you to take a step forward. What does that look like for you? How can you level up in one area? How can you get a little bit deeper? How can you push yourself a little bit more? That's what I want you to find this week. That's what I challenge you to do this week, is find those areas that you can just take one more step. For some of you, it looks like messaging. So many are still held back from messaging because they're scared to death. And they're going to offend somebody, or they're going to get blocked, or they're going to get deleted. And I want to be like, if that's your fear, you're never going to cold message somebody. Like if you are that aware of like, I don't want to offend somebody, I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings or whatever, you might as well take the fear of cold messaging out, because you're not going to let yourself. So for some of you, it's messaging. For some of you, it's going live. If it was your kid that was in this business that came to you and was like, well, I'm just so scared to go live, what's the advice that you would give them? If your kid had to go live for some type of school project and they came to you and was like, I'm just so scared to go live, what would you tell your kid? Why can't you give yourself that own advice? And it's like that with everything. If your kid came to you and was trying to, just fast forward however many years you have to, and they came to you and they're like, I'm just so scared to message so-and-so, what would you tell them? Because sometimes we've got to give ourselves that own advice. I'm doing live interviews this week. I'm kicking it off tonight. I'm super excited. Live interviews are so easy because all you do is you just get on. You're like, hey, this is my friend. I'm going to turn it over to her. Go. And then you just like back away. Good. Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing, like Helena, she said, I need to push myself harder. I think we all have areas like that. But I think whenever we back up and we say, how would we, if our kid came to us with that same fear, what would we tell them? Because I know with Blake, if she came to me and said she was scared of anything, I'd be like, you better tackle it. You better not let it paralyze you. You better not let it hold you back. You better go right now and tackle it. And it doesn't even have to do, like if it was on getting healthier and eating better and exercising, and if she came to me and she's like, I just, I'm struggling with it. I'm like, let's go. Sometimes it's giving ourselves that own advice. Sometimes it's looking in the mirror and talking to ourselves the way we would talk to someone else that we love. So with all that being said, like I said, I hope you find this week ways that you have to step up. What is that going to look like? Yeah, Lisa said, act immediately before you talk yourself out of it, because you always will. You will, 100%. Your mind, like it's really cool. I was reading, I don't remember what book or anything like that, but it was just talking about how your mind is created to keep you safe. And so anytime that you want to push yourself to do something scary, your mind is going to try to hold you back to keep you safe. And you'll talk yourself out of it. Yeah, just like Lisa, doubt is human nature. So you've just got to act. You've just got to go. This whole sink or swim, you've got to just step out and start swimming. You got to step out and start treading water. You got to step out and trust that the people around you truly do have arms locked around you, and we're not going to let you sink as long as you keep kicking your legs. We're also not going to carry dead weight. Like, we're not. You got to kick. You got to move your arms. But we're here. We're in the deeper waters. People. I would say have 5 people that are in deeper waters than you, and just try to close that gap. How can you get where you are to them? How can you get there? And for me, like I said, it really comes down to those 4 things. Confidence. If you feel like you're lacking confidence, then start taking steps to being more confident. It's a skill. People are like, there's not some people that are born more confident than other people. It is truly a skill, and they have just practiced it a lot more than you. Maybe they played sports growing up and they became more confident that way. Maybe they were smart in school growing up and did really good on tests, and so they became more confident that way. Like, I don't know what they went through, but I promise you, if you look at someone else and you're like, oh my gosh, they're just so much more confident than me, I can promise you it's just a skill that they have practiced more than you. You can become confident too. Work ethic. I always come back to Will Smith saying, nobody will beat me on a treadmill. Nobody will beat me on a treadmill. I'll either win or I'll die trying. Like, I'm not getting off the treadmill. Have y'all ever heard his speech on that? Oh my gosh, it is so powerful. What does your work ethic look like? Are you ready to say, like, nobody's going to work harder than me? Nobody. And I don't care if it's out of pride. I don't care if it's with this, like, I don't care what it's out of. But are you ready to say this week, nobody's going to work harder than me this week? Because whenever you get into that mindset, that's whenever you become unstoppable. Because you're not comparing yourself anymore on saying, oh, she's so much better than me, or oh, she's whatever. Now it's nobody's going to outwork me. It's a whole different mindset. So what is your work ethic going to look like this week? Are you going to be brave this week? Are you going to be courageous this week? Are you going to do things that scare you this week and just do it scared? Do it scared. And then the last part, like I said, is being authentic. Just understanding every single time you try to show up as someone else, you're going to fall short. So start showing up as you and watch the growth that is going to happen. Kathy said, nobody is going to work harder than me this week. That's where I'm coming in this week as. I'm like, you know what? It's mid-month. There's a lot of people that's going to sit down. We're up to 100 on this Zoom now. There's a lot of people that's going to sit down this week. I'm not one of them. I'm not sitting on the bench this week. I am in the game, and nobody is going to outwork me. I'm sending more messages than everyone. I'm doing my statuses. I'm doing my stories. I'm interacting. I'm doing my birthdays. I'm doing those tedious tasks that nobody loves. Nobody loves sending happy birthday. Like, and nobody that I know loves sending happy birthday every single day. But we do it because we know that that's the discipline and that's the, work ethic that we need to bring to the table. Nobody's going to outwork me this week. Are you ready to get into that mindset? Yeah, Lisa said, can you imagine what you'd accomplish if no one was watching? So true, so true. Every single time people come to me and they're like, well, I'm just scared to go live. And I want to be like, you're just scared of people seeing you and judging you. I truly, truly think that. And that's why sometimes people are like, well, why don't you just post and put it to where only you can see it? I'm like, why? Why not just tackle the monster of people judging you and understanding like they are not paying your bills? And understanding like that was your kid and your kid was saying that they're scared of people judging them, what would you tell your kid? Like, why don't we tackle it from there? Yep. 150%. 150% agree. But we've got to stop letting other people knock us down. Like, I'm just reading in chat. Yeah, we've got to fail. We've got to fall and just get back up. Yep. Can't be scared of failure. But even failure, when people tell me they're scared of failure, I'm like, you're just scared of people seeing you fail. Like, I truly think that you're scared of people saying, I told you so. Or, so much of that just stems from judgment and stems from people watching you. But I hope that this week, whenever you try to get yourself in those sink or swim situations and that nobody's going to outwork you this week, I hope this is the week that you're like, I don't care if what people think about me. Like, I really hope you can get into that mindset this week, because you have 101 people on this Zoom right now that we're right there with you. And I can promise you, the people in the arena, what is that saying too? That's like, nobody doing better than you will ever judge you. The people judging you are the people that you're leaving behind. Oh man, I saw another really good quote the other day, and it said, you wonder why people like from your past or people in your hometown or like people you grew up with, why do they judge you? It's because y'all started in the same place and you're leveling up and they're still in the same place. Like, That's why people judge you. Just understanding that. Also looking at yourself, are you judging people? Because that needs to stop. Are you the one sitting there being like, y'all are so silly. Are you the one sitting there saying, oh, she thinks she's something? Oh, look at her. Oh, stop. Because that can be half the problem. So make sure, number one, you're not doing the judging, but also number two, like I said, just let this week be the week where you're like, you know what? They're not paying my bills. I'm trying to level up, and nobody in the arena fighting, nobody that's already where I'm trying to go is ever going to judge me, besides critiquing. And that's what you want anyways. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. No one doing better than you will ever judge you. I promise you that. Think about it. Think about it. So just tackle it. This week, tackle it. Yeah. Yeah, Mallory said that that's her weaknesses. I wish I looked like that. Right? It's like, well, as soon as I lose 20 pounds, I'll go live. Not this week. This week, you do it with your plus 20 pounds and all your glory. Like, it doesn't matter. This week, just show up. Make this week be yours. It's a Monday. I love Mondays. I love kicking this thing off. I want you just in that positive mindset. I want you tackling it, and I want you constantly saying over and over, nobody's going to outwork me. I want you constantly saying over and over, I'm showing up. I want you constantly saying over and over, people, my affirmations. People come to me that want my product. People join my team that want to run. I enroll rock stars. Everybody I enroll goes 12K. That is something that I say over and over and over again. Everybody I enroll goes 12K. At my previous company, my affirmation was everybody I enroll goes diamond. And this is something that I have said for years upon years. And I stopped for a little bit. And then I started wondering why people were going VIP 800, 1600 and quitting. Or people were going 4K and never going and then quitting. It's like, well, what am I saying? And so I had to go back and really watch what I was saying about my team, about myself. Watch those affirmations this week. Oh my gosh. And see, Lisa, I just think you are so freaking gorgeous. Isn't that crazy? Isn't it crazy how we pick ourselves apart? So crazy. You're so funny. All right, guys, I am going to hop off here and get ready for the Work With Me Zoom. If you are not on that Facebook page, it is shared. If somebody will share that Facebook page in the chat one more time. Those are going to be so good for the next 10 days, and they're at all different times. So if 7 a.m. doesn't work for you, there's noon. If noon doesn't work for you, there's 8 p.m. So you just pick what time works for you, hop on one of those, and watch what happens. Like being surrounded with the right people, seeing what they do every day. That's what we want to surround ourselves with. Get your mindset right today. Do not go any further into this week without watching that mindset. And like I said, affirmations, writing down over and over and over. I can do hard things. Nobody is going to outwork me. What affirmations do you need to take into this week? And don't back away from it. Find as many different ways in those sink or swim situations. Put yourself in them. Prove to yourself you're going to swim every single time.